Hey everybody, in this video I am going to talk about variables in Matlab. So I recommend, if you haven't already, watching the previous video where we talk about making assignments in Matlab and how it always is variable equals expression. We're going to talk a little bit about how Matlab stores variables. If you recall what Matlab means, it means Matrix Laboratory. It will come probably as no surprise that most variables in Matlab are matrices or arrays. In fact, every variable can be thought of as a matrix or an array. Every variable in Matlab is a matrix. What does that mean that it's a matrix? Well, it means that it's a set of values with the same data type. So you have a set of values, maybe it's everybody's birthday, and they're all stored together in one variable instead of separate variables. And every value is stored in an element of the matrix in Matlab. And matrices are made of rows and columns. And we usually say that the rows are M, so a matrix has M rows, and the columns are N, so the matrix has N columns. So I'm going to run with this example where we talk about muffins. So here's a muffin tin. I'm going to say that my variable is muffins. And this is the matrix of muffins. It has, as we can see here, 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay? So 4 rows, 3 columns. And it has 12 total muffins, 12 elements in this matrix. If I flip this the other way, I now have 3 rows, 4 columns, but still 12 muffins. And I've labeled these in the way that Matlab counts. And this is an important distinction if you've done any previous computer programming, that Matlab starts its indices on a matrix and in all variables with the number 1. Other programs use 0. There are some matrix subsets we can look at within Matlab. So a scalar is a matrix that is 1 row and 1 column, so just one number, but it's still a matrix to Matlab. Okay, so if I have this upper left muffin, then that's a scalar, it's just one value. We also have vectors. These are matrices with one of the dimensions equal to 1. So it either has just 1 row or just 1 column. So for example, a row vector is 1 by n, and I'm going to go back to my muffin tin and mark a row vector, so I'll take the second row, so 1 row and 3 columns. We could also look at a column vector, which is going to be m rows and 1 column, and here we have matrix, a column vector in the pink. Okay. I'd love for you at this point to stop and look at the handout for some ways that Matlab can easily create matrices using some manipulation, and I'll record a subsequent video where I show this in Matlab. Matrix element indexing. So every single element within Matlab every single matrix is made up of elements, and we want to be able to pull out one of the elements or a row of the elements or a subset. So we need to know how Matlab counts the elements and where it stores. So what I'm going to be discussing right now is Matlab specific. So this works in Matlab but not other programming languages. So let's say I have my muffin tin, and I'm going to write a number in each well of the muffin tin that represents the number of chocolate chips in the muffins. Okay. So here, my daughter and I have made muffins. We count all of the chocolate chips in each of the muffins. Okay, and so each value in the matrix is an element. In this case, an element is 1 muffin. And we want to be able to ask Matlab or tell Matlab the value from a specific muffin, or really, that's an element, right? Okay, so I'm going to label these. This top row is for me, middle row is for my daughter Ellie, and the bottom row is for my daughter Claire. And so we can do this using single indexing, so we'll talk about that first in this video. So I'm going to take my my muffins, write it in as the matrix of row to row vector. So in my row, I have a muffin with 3, and then a muffin with 12, and then a muffin with 6 chocolate chips, and lastly a muffin with 10. So this has 1 row, and this has 4 columns. If I want to figure out how many chocolate chips are in the third muffin, the third element, I can write Laura 3 is equal to 6. If I want to know the number of chocolate chips in the first, third, and fourth, I can ask Matlab to look up Laura, and then I have an open parenthesis, an open bracket, and then I type 1 space 3 space 4, and the answer to that would be 3, 6, and 10. And then if I wanted to do the second through the fourth muffins, I could write it like this and get the answer of 12, 6, and 10. Okay, so that's a little intro about how Matlab handles variables and how to look for particular elements in a matrix. And that's it for today. Look for a video where I show you this in Matlab.